Hello and welcome back to yet another episode on the Alejandro Hernandez podcast. And today we are going to be doing my official Super Bowl prediction between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. But before I get into my prediction for that game, I just want to simply recap my predictions for the NFC and the AFC Championship game. In the AFC Championship game, it was between the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. I had said to not overthink it, just simply pick New England as the favorite, and they did go on to win. However, they did not cover the spread, which is set at -4.5. The weather kind of ruined that game. Once I saw the blizzard coming down in Denver, I knew that nobody was going to score after that because those conditions to score in were simply impossible. And the score was 10-7 after the Patriots had that long drive at the beginning of the third quarter, and nobody could score after that. They had a practice squad player, the Patriots, block a field goal that ended up deciding the game in favor of New England. Jarrett Stidham was never winning that game. Drake May ended up calling his own number at the end of that game to win the Patriots the game and help them advance to Super Bowl 60. So full credit to New England. The NFL awards just came out last night. Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year, and Josh McDaniels won Assistant Coach of the Year. There's no coincidence in that. People want to discredit New England and their run to the Super Bowl in general by pointing to their easy schedule. I think that it's just not a good argument. I think New England, I've said this in my last video, two things can be true about New England. Yes, they had an easy schedule. Yes, they are an awesome football team, and they have displayed that this entire postseason because they have simply just been out-coaching their opponents. They're making less mistakes, and they're taking care of the football for the most part. Drake May in the first two games did have a couple turnovers, but in the times when Drake May needed to make plays, he made plays. And I think that in the AFC Championship game, one of my biggest X factors for that game was, can Drake May hold onto the football, because his biggest issue was fumbling the ball, which he did a lot in the first two games against the Chargers and the Texans. This game, he completely took care of the football. The Patriots let Denver shoot themselves in the foot going forward on that 4th and 1 and missing. And then Jarrett Stidham sprinting backwards and just tossing the football ended up being a fumble, setting the Patriots up for a game-tying touchdown. So the Patriots in the AFC Championship game said, Broncos, we are going to let you make the mistakes. We are going to simply just play it safe and let you make the mistakes, and we're going to capitalize on your mistakes. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what great football teams do. So full credit to New England. They deserve to be here. I want to make that very clear. Anyone trying to discredit the Patriots and anyone saying that this game's going to be a blowout, I have a very different opinion. I think this is going to be a very close game. Although I think it's pretty common knowledge that Seattle is the more talented team on offense and on defense, the Patriots did go out this free agency and spend a ton of money on guys like Robert Spillane, Stephon Diggs, Morgan Moses, Milton Williams. But Seattle overall, their roster construction, major credit to John Schneider. He has done an incredible job. And actually, I forgot to recap the NFC Championship game, so let me do that real quick. Rams-Seahawks, I mean, what a freaking game that was. That was game of the year by far. Just a heavyweight fight between, in my opinion, the two best teams in the NFL. They've been pretty much all season, the Rams and the Seahawks. I went with the Rams because I trusted Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford to get it done in the clutch. I thought this game was going to come down to the finest of margins, and that's exactly what happened. However, it was the Rams ultimately. Their Achilles heel all season was their special teams, and it once again ended up biting them in the foot, or just kind of just stepping on them in the foot. And it's not the greatest term of phrase, but you get what I'm trying to say. That the Rams simply just shot themselves in the foot. There you go. They shot themselves in the foot on special teams. Xavier Smith with a crucial fumble when they were getting the ball back down 4. The momentum was still with the Rams at that point because they had just gotten a stop at the beginning of the third quarter, and their offense had no problems moving the ball up and down the field in that Seattle defense. However, that muff punt resulted immediately on the first play of that drive. Seattle punches it in, goes up 11 points. Seattle takes full momentum, and going up 11 in Seattle, the Seahawks were never going to lose that game. Their defense wind up holding on at the end. However, I was really hopeful because down 31-27, Matthew Stafford got the ball back at his own 10-yard line and drove the team all the way down the field with surgical throw after surgical throw. And it pissed me off so much to see the ball on 4th down go to Tanner Ferguson and not Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams. I thought that Sean McVay could have had a better play call in that situation. He sprinted all the way down to the sideline to the referee to almost call timeout. He was about to signal timeout on that 4th down to review the play call. He ended up trusting his quarterback, Matthew Stafford, to make the play. And turns out that DeMarcus Lawrence made a very high IQ play peeling off of his pass rush to cover Kyren Williams out of the backfield. And Seattle made the play that needed to be made to win the game. So full credit to Seattle. I did not fade the Seahawks because I had any doubt in Sam Darnold. I didn't think he was going to go out and have the best game of his career, but he ended up doing that. So full credit to Sam Darnold. I picked against the Seahawks both in the divisional round against the 49ers and against the Rams. Sam Darnold proved me wrong. Full credit to Sam Darnold. That man deserves all the credit in the world. And I believe everybody around the league has to change their perspective on Sam Darnold. Everybody still has this image of Sam Darnold in a Jets uniform, an image of Sam Darnold in a Panthers uniform. It's time for us to change our perspective on Sam Darnold. We have to now assume that Sam Darnold, not even assume, we just have to believe in Sam Darnold as the guy who wore a Minnesota Vikings jersey and went 14-3 in Minnesota, led them to the playoffs. And then the year he leaves, J.J. McCarthy takes over and can't operate the offense to its full potential and holds Justin Jefferson's full potential back. So he elevated the Seahawks when he left Minnesota, and the Minnesota Vikings heavily declined without Sam Darnold. Then he goes to Seattle. With Geno Smith at quarterback for the past 3 years, they've kind of had a 9-8, 10-7 ceiling. Haven't done better, haven't done worse than that. They've just been hard stuck in kind of this right above 500 kind of stature. Now Sam Darnold comes in, elevates this team from a 9-10 win team to a 14-win team, hosting getting the number one seed in the conference. So Sam Darnold is now a floor raiser. He is a ceiling raiser, I should say. And man, back-to-back 14-3 seasons, now leading your team to the Super Bowl. That moment he had against the Rams, he was down 16 in the fourth quarter, and then he made the throws late in the fourth quarter in overtime of that game, week 16 at home. That was kind of him climbing that mental block of not being able to perform in big games. And after big game, week 16 against the Rams, week 18 against the 49ers, divisional round against the 49ers, now NFC Championship game, great performance after great performance after great performance. He has been flawless, he has been surgical, and he has risen to the moment. So full credit in Sam Darnold. We must change our perspective. Sports media in general must change their perspective on Sam Darnold and now look at him as a guy who has led the Vikings to a 14-3 season, has led the Seahawks to a 14-3 season, and to the Super Bowl, as opposed to the guy that got drafted by the New York Jets. So that's my opinion on Sam Darnold. I have changed my opinion on Sam Darnold. He is a great quarterback. In my opinion, this year, he has elevated himself into top 10 quarterback talks. So full credit to Sam Darnold there. So now with all that being said, let's get into my prediction for the game. Like I said earlier on in this video, I believe this is going to be a lot closer than people think. Everyone is predicting a Seattle blowout, and rightfully so. The sportsbook even has a spread at -4.5 Seattle. And that's totally fair when you look at the Seahawks, how battle-tested they have been. They've played the best teams in the league like the Rams and the 49ers. They've been battle-tested all year, whereas the Patriots have had this cupcake schedule. And then also you look at who's more talented. Seattle's the way more talented team, and that's full credit to John Schneider and the roster he has constructed. He's brought in Sam Darnold, obviously, drafted JSN, drafted Devon Witherspoon, signed Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence in free agency, drafted Gray Zabel. I mean, this team signed Cooper Kupp in free agency, traded for Rashid Shaheed, just move after move after move after move. And people, I think, are not paying enough attention to the whole rebrand that Seattle had this offseason. When you look at the Seattle team last year, Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf was the identity of the offense. Then in this offseason, John Schneider, yes, it's screw all that. We are going to completely rebuild this offense. We're going to trade Geno Smith, and he looks like a genius for that because Geno Smith looked like one of, if not the worst quarterback in the NFL this year on the Raiders. Replaces him by signing Sam Darnold to a below-market contract. The market right now for quarterbacks, especially top 10, top 15 quarterbacks, is $50 million a year. He got Sam Darnold for $30 million. That is a steal. And Sam Darnold completely elevated this offense from, I guess, a middle-of-the-pack offense to a top 10, top 5 offense. He decides to trade DK Metcalf to the Steelers for a second-round pick. So we got a second-round pick and a third-round pick for Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. That is excellent GMing right there. He decides to let go of Tyler Lockett, and people kind of scoffed at the signing of Cooper Kupp, saying that was an overpay. Me included. I thought that Cooper Kupp, in the Rams, he was kind of declining because of all the injuries he had suffered. Cooper Kupp has been an instrumental piece to the Seattle offense this year. So they signed Cooper Kupp, and they let go of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So you replace you replace Geno Smith with Sam Darnold. You replace Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf with Rashid Shaheed and Cooper Kupp, and you elevate JSN. You tell JSN, listen, I drafted you in the first round. Show us your full potential as our wide receiver one. And he took the torch and never gave it back. That man completely just took over the league, won Offensive Player of the Year. So John Schneider, honestly, right now has an argument for best GM in the league for what he's done. Then in the second round, gets an absolute steal in Nick Eamon-Wari. I have no idea how he fell that far. In my mock draft back in April, I had mocked Nick Eamon-Wari to the Washington Commanders at number 27 overall, I believe. Or it might have been to the Vikings. I thought Nick Eamon-Wari was a first-round talent. I thought that he was a freak of nature, 6'3", 220, could play pretty much all around the field, in the box, middle field safety, can man-to-man cover anybody on the offense. That guy's one of the most versatile defensive players, and the scheme fit was perfect in Seattle. And huge credit to John Schneider, and that's a major disservice to the rest of the league as to how Nick Eamon-Wari was not a first-round pick. But Seattle was smart enough to select him in the second round, and he has transformed their defense. So full credit to John Schneider. He has an argument for best GM in the league, in my opinion. Kind of getting sidetracked here, but let's get back into the actual game itself. The spread is set at -4.5 Seattle and +4.5 New England. Like I said earlier on in this video, I believe that the Patriots coaching staff is going to do enough to keep them in this game. I think Seattle's more prone to making mistakes like dumb penalties, like the Reek Wallen penalty in the NFC Championship game. They have had more turnovers in the regular season, so I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle ends up fumbling the ball in a critical moment in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a dumb penalty that extends a drive for the Patriots. I just think the Patriots are better coached, are more buttoned up, and are less prone to making mistakes, which is why I believe the Patriots are good enough to keep this game close. So my pick for this game is going to be Seattle to win, New England to cover +4.5. I believe the sharp side in this game is +4.5 New England, and I think they're capable of keeping this a close game. However, I do think Seattle will edge them out because defense does win championships, and Seattle has a great defense. Alright, so now let's talk about this elite Seattle defense. I want to get into the matchup between the Patriots offense and the Seahawks defense. I think the biggest X factor in this game is going to be whether the Patriots offensive line, more specifically Will Campbell, will he be able to hold up in this game? Will the Patriots buy Drake May enough time to which he's not overwhelmed and he can't really get his progressions in, get his reads in? Is Drake May's internal clock going to be sped up by the Seattle pass rush? Because that's what's been happening through the first 3 games of the Patriots postseason run. Against the Chargers, I believe, had 5 or 6 sacks. The Texans had multiple strip sacks on Drake May because Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter just wrecked the game. And then in the AFC Championship game, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, they were beating Will Campbell routinely, and the right tackle Morgan Moses. So can the Patriots offensive line neutralize the Seahawks defensive line just enough in order to buy Drake May enough time to get through his reads and for Drake May not to be overwhelmed and under duress the entire game? I think that's the biggest X factor. And the thing with Seattle is they play too high shell at the highest rate in the entire NFL, which means they always, their base defense is 2 deep safeties, whether that's cover 2, cover 4, or cover 6. And the benefit of playing that defense for Seattle is that they are less vulnerable to explosive plays down the field. And what's the Patriots' biggest offensive strength? Downfield explosive plays. Whether it's Mac Hollins, whether it's Kayshon Boutte, whether it's Kyle Williams. They always want to find, Drake May always wants to find that deep ball down the sideline, or that deep ball up the seam, or that deep dig. Seattle's base defense takes that away. So I think this is going to make a very interesting matchup for the Patriots offense, and I'm expecting Josh McDaniels to come up with a great scheme. So I've mentioned that the Seahawks defense is less susceptible to big plays down the field, but what the Seahawks base defense is more susceptible to is running the football. I believe the Patriots are going to establish the run game, or attempt to establish the run game in this matchup. Now here's the thing, this is what makes Seattle's defense so great. Nick Eamon-Wari. The nickel-based defense. Nickel defense is 5 defensive backs on the field, 3 cornerbacks, and 2 safeties. Nick Eamon-Wari is so versatile that he kind of serves as another linebacker on the field. So that 5th defensive back in the nickel formation is Nick Eamon-Wari. He is big enough where it doesn't become a size disadvantage for the Seahawks defense. Now, what the Rams did to counter this was running 13 personnel, which is 3 tight ends and 1 wide receiver and 1 running back. Now, I think the Patriots are going to come out with a very heavy approach on offense. They're going to get that 6th offensive lineman in. They're going to get those 2 tight end sets with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, and they are going to attempt to establish the run. And I think that if the Patriots can establish a good enough run game, then they're going to go off of that with play action. And once Drake May has play action, maybe the Seahawks linebackers jump up. Those big plays down the field will be available. Those deep crossing routes by Stephon Diggs, by Mac Hollins, or that deep post by Kayshon Boutte will open up. So with all that being said, I think Josh McDaniels is going to come up with a great scheme in order to beat the Seattle defense. They're going to try to establish the run. Mike Vrabel is going to be coaching this team to just play physical. Play physical. That is Mike Vrabel's brand of football. Is physical, just punch you in the mouth type of football. Mike Vrabel is going to want to establish the run in this game and kind of chew clock. And if the Patriots are able to do that with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, they will have success in this game. So I believe the Patriots are going to attempt to establish the run and throw off play action. And if that's not working, I expect Josh McDaniels, with 2 weeks to prepare, I expect a flea flicker. I expect a screen to a wide receiver who then throws it back the opposite direction and creates a big play. If the Patriots offense is stalling out with their regular routine play calls, I fully expect Josh McDaniels to have a trick play up his sleeve in this game to spark the Patriots offense. So I think the Patriots offense, there is ways they can have success. If they establish the run game by running 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets with Ramondre Stevenson, throw off play action to open up those big plays down the field, I think that the Patriots offense can have success and will able to keep this game close. However, the way the Seahawks can wreck this game is by getting pressure with 4. If DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy can get pressure without having to blitz, then Drake May is going to struggle in this game. And another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is Drake May's legs. The Patriots offense has been moving the ball pretty much against these elite defenses by using Drake May's legs on scramble drills. Drake May has been killing defenses with these 30 plus yard runs in high leverage moments. So if Drake May is able to do that, then the Patriots offense can also move the ball in that way. However, I do expect Mike McDonald and Seattle to prepare for that with rush lane integrity, which means that they are not going to allow rush lanes to open up for Drake May in the pocket. They're going to keep him inside the pocket the best way they know how, which is rush lane integrity. The edge rushers are not going to over pursue up the field, which will open up Drake May's rushing lanes on scramble drills. And I also expect either Ernest Jones or Nicky Manwari to have a quarterback spy on Drake May. So the Seahawks will be prepared. This is going to be such a great coaching matchup, man. I can't wait to watch this. But I'm breaking it down here with you guys, but this is a chess match, man. This is why I think the Super Bowl is such a great matchup, because both these teams are so well coached. Clint Kubiak is a wizard on the offensive side of the ball. This is why he got a head coaching job with the Raiders. Josh McDaniels is a wizard as the Patriots offensive coordinator. And then you have Mike McDonald versus Mike Vrabel on the defensive side of the ball. This is such a great matchup, man. I can't wait to watch. But yeah, just you guys need to keep an eye out for everything I've just told you. Quarterback spies on Drake May. Rush lane integrity from the Seahawks defensive line. The Patriots are going to want to establish the run against that nickel-based defense of the Seahawks. They're going to want to establish the run, then throw off play action to set up those big plays down the field that Drake May is so efficient at. And then, if that's not working, expect Josh McDaniels to have a trick up his sleeve with either a flea flicker or a screen pass like the one the Niners ran against the Chiefs, where Juwan Jennings threw it back to Christian McCaffrey, which resulted in a touchdown. Expect something like that from the Patriots offense. All right, now that I've gone through the matchup between the Patriots offense and the Seahawks defense, let's shift over to the Patriots defense versus the Seahawks offense. This Seahawks offense has been rolling on all cylinders. They put up 41 on the Niners and 31 on the Rams. This Seahawks offense has been performing at an extremely high level, and that's major credit to Clint Kubiak, to Sam Darnold, to Kenneth Walker, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think that the Seattle offense has been insane. Just insane. Sam Darnold throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game. What a performance by him. And I think that the biggest X factor for the Seahawks offense is not JSN, it's not Sam Darnold, it's not Kenneth Walker, it's going to be Cooper Kupp. And I'll get into that just now why. The Seahawks offense versus the Patriots defense, I expect the Patriots to run a ton of man coverage. And the reason why I say that is because the Rams got absolutely torched running zone coverage against the Seahawks offense. In the first half of that game, Clint Kubiak was just picking apart this Rams defense, and specifically Chris Shula's scheme. Chris Shula's scheme was a lot of cover 2 and cover 4, which means 2 deep safeties, and we're gonna scheme guys open. And the way they did that, especially in the red zone, the Rams were running cover 4 in the red zone. And what Clint Kubiak did was lined up JSN in the backfield and ran a concept known as red zone scissors, which means that he put Shaheed on a post, which occupied the corner and the safety, put Cooper Kupp in a flat route, which occupied the hook zone defender and the flat defender, and then Jackson Smith-Njigba went out in the backfield and went to the corner of the end zone and was wide open. Any casual NFL fan watching the game is like, how the hell do you let the best player on the field become so wide open? Scheme. Scheme is how he was wide open. Clint Kubiak absolutely just cooked Chris Shula scheme-wise. And then you look on how they got down there in the first place. That deep shot down the field to JSN. The Rams were the sitting in cover 2, and the way they exploited that is JSN ran a great corner post route. JSN routed up that deep field safety by attempting to run a corner route, shifting his weight and his eyes to the corner, to the sideline, and then cutting back middle. Sam Darnold put a perfect ball for him. So the Rams were getting torched by running zone coverage, and Clint Kubiak was scheming up plays to beat zone coverage, which is why I expect the Patriots to do the opposite of that and run man coverage. Now, as for why I say Cooper Kupp is the X factor for the Seahawks offense in this game, it's just I believe that he's going to have the least attention on him. The Patriots are obviously going to want to neutralize Jackson Smith and Jigba, and the way I think they're going to do that is by having Christian Gonzalez, their number 1 corner, travel with him. And then you look at the wide receiver too for the Seahawks, Rashid Shaheed. How has he been getting open down the field? Marcus Jones, their punt returner and their cornerback, is one of the fastest, if not the fastest player on the team. I think that the Patriots are going to want to match up Christian Gonzalez on Jackson Smith and Jigba in man-to-man coverage, and then shadow Rashid Shaheed with Marcus Jones because they equal each other in speed. So Marcus Jones is going to be able to hold his own on Rashid Shaheed. Who does that leave open? Or who has the least attention on them? It's Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp is going to have a huge game out of the slot in this game. I think Cooper Kupp is going to be Sam Darnold's favorite target on third down in this game because all the attention is going to be on Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I think that's going to open the door for Cooper Kupp to have a big game. His anytime touchdown line is set up plus 260. I love the value there. I would bet Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown in this game, especially in the red zone, because he's such a great route runner. If the Patriots do run man-to-man coverage and they're focused on Jackson Smith and Jigba, they're focused on Rashid Shaheed, I think Cooper Kupp is the man that's going to get open in the red zone, and that's who Sam Darnold is going to be looking at to get open. So that's why I think Cooper Kupp is going to be the X factor in this game. Now for the Patriots defense. How can the Patriots defense have success in this game? It's going to be the interior pass rush with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. These two guys are probably the least talked about and the most underrated players in this Super Bowl. Milton Williams was the guy who wrecked the Super Bowl for the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. Milton Williams, I believe, had 1.5 sacks, was just causing havoc in the Chiefs' backfield the entire game. And then this year for the Patriots, he's the least talked about signing. Everyone wants to talk about Drake May or Will Campbell or Travion Henderson or Stephon Diggs. Nobody's talking about the impact that Milton Williams has had on this Patriots defense. He's been outstanding. And he had a huge impact in the Chargers game, the Texans game, and the Broncos game, and nobody seems to be talking about it. Milton Williams has the potential to wreck this game because the Seahawks' weakness right now on their offensive line is their right guard, Anthony Bradford. I expect the Patriots to exploit that weakness of Seattle's offense, especially in the run game. I think Anthony Bradford's going to get bullied by Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, and the Patriots' defensive line can wreck this game if they get a great interior pass rush. And I think that's their route to victory, or route to keeping this game close, is their interior pass rush taking over the game. And I believe they're capable of doing that. So if Milton Williams and Christian Barmore can do a great job, they open up rushing lanes for Robert Spillane to fill, rushing lanes for Christian Ellis to fill, and I believe that Kenneth Walker has been great this postseason. He's been incredible. However, I believe the Patriots are best suited to neutralize him. Out of the teams that the Seahawks have played, the Niners didn't have a great run defense, and the Rams had a semi-decent run defense, but Kenneth Walker was still able to find success against that. The Patriots have been a super stout run defense this entire playoffs, and I expect them to have success at neutralizing Kenneth Walker in this game. And what that's going to do is put the pressure on Sam Darnold to make plays with his arm. And I believe he's fully capable of doing that. I'm done doubting Sam Darnold. I expect him to have an excellent game in this spot. I expect him to rely on Cooper Kupp. Jackson Smith and Jigba will kind of be used as a decoy. I expect Jackson Smith to get his. I think he's going to have a good game, but not the 10-catch, 150-yard game he had in the NFC Championship game. I think Cooper Kupp is going to be the Seahawks' unsung hero in this game. I expect him to have a huge game. And I expect the Seahawks to win because ultimately defense does win championships. And another reason I have not listed yet is their special teams. Rashid Shaheed in the return game. And then Jason Myers against Andy Borregales. Borregales for the Patriots. Borregales is the Patriots kicker, former kicker, by the way. He's a rookie this year. And I watched him play at Hard Rock Stadium, but that's besides the point. Andy Borregales in the AFC Championship game missed 2 kicks. He went 1 for 3, and obviously the conditions had a huge factor in that game, but he did miss I believe it was a 44-yard field goal in that game. And had he made that, the Patriots would have gone from a 10-7 game to a 13-7 game. So that was definitely a big swing in the game that kept the Broncos in it. So I trust Jason Myers, the veteran kicker for the Seahawks, more than I trust Andy Borregales. So if I had to put my money on a kicker missing a kick in this game, it would be the Patriots kicker, not the Seahawks kicker, because Jason Myers has had an incredible season. He's been great. He has made clutch kick after clutch kick. And also, I can't really say that Andy Borregales has not made clutch kicks, because he did make one against the Bills in Week 5. But I just trust the experience of Jason Myers over Andy Borregales. So if this game does come down to field goals, I do lean Seattle in that department, because I think that Jason Myers is a more reliable kicker than Andy Borregales. So with that being said, I think defense wins championships. Seattle does have the better defense. My final score prediction for this game is going to be 24-20 Seahawks. And I think that the Patriots and Drake May will have the ball last. However, Seattle will make a defensive stand the same way they did against the Rams. And the Seahawks will win this game. And the Patriots will cover the spread, which is set at plus 4.5. And that is going to be it for this video. And I will see you guys next time for when I release a really, really good video. My next video is going to be a huge surprise to my audience. It's going to be something completely different than I've done in the past. And I'll leave it a surprise for you guys, my viewers. But I got something really great that I'm cooking up here. And until then, I will see you guys next time. I believe that when I will release that video will be sometime next week after Wednesday. But until then, I will see you guys next time.